Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, it is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Corey Tackman over there. Our guy Zeke in the middle joining us here today. More high school sports, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We're going to dive right into it here in today's show. Yesterday had a little softball in a former mid-state conference matchup between Wadena Deer Creek and Park Rapids area. Park Rapids area Panthers having a little senior day as it's their final home game of the season. They're playing a doubleheader in Staples-Motley today, and then going to Breckenridge as well later in the week. And it's the final week of the softball season for the regular season, which is crazy to think about. Wadena Deer Creek trying to win their, I believe it was 9th game in a row. Coming into that stretch in the 8 games, they had only allowed 5 runs in that span. Well, they gave up 4 runs in the first inning, did Wadena Deer Creek, after getting 2 runs in the top of the first. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, geez, like, here we go. We got a game. Like, Wadena Deer Creek has gotten challenged for the first time in a while early on. Let's see this thing roll. And then Montana Karsten settled down and pitched 6 shutout innings after that. The Wadena Deer Creek offense came around and was able to get a couple runs here, was able to get a 4-run. I believe it was 4th inning that really did put them away in that one. And Wadena Deer Creek came away with a 9-4 victory, a big section win for them. They've won 9 in a row, 15-2 on the season. For Park Rapids area, talking with Coach Gaden a little bit before the game, she said, we were trying to work through some things and trying to figure out how to play. I know this is a non-conference game, but trying to, again, get to that Heart of Lakes grind and figure some stuff out. They're doing well, 3rd place in the conference coming into that game. But overall, just 2 teams who are, Park Rapids area right now kind of notching in on that middle of the section part in 8AA. Wadena Deer Creek is in the top 4, and they want to stay that way. When you have Monaga, the only team that's beaten them this year, above them, and then you have 2 teams that are ranked in state in Holly and DGF in front of you. It's going to be a fun section, 8AA, and for the Wolverines, they keep that winning streak rolling. 9-4 was the final. And I also just got to see a girl try and throw a softball, and the grip must not have been there because it was hot or whatever it was, just got flung out of her hand, and it went straight sideways, awesome. Along the third base side. It's like, you just get to say the classic thing on the air. That's not what she wanted to do with that one.
I had that the softball game I had. I don't want to say who the player was because I don't want to but the ball, like, pump fake. Mm-hmm. You pump fake, but then the ball comes out at the last second and just drill it straight into the earth. That was just something I hadn't seen in a long time. And you look up at the catcher the second it happened, and she just like, well, sorry that was terrifying. Sorry.
Somebody tried to chop a grounder. They got on top of it, and it bounced off home plate, and the spin on it, bounced off of home plate and then went straight down the third baseline. I'd never seen a softball move like that. It was
cool.
Had some wicked spin. So, all right, Corey, moving things over. I know you have a Staples-Motley baseball game this afternoon.
Yeah, a little non-conference baseball this afternoon. Staples-Motley Cardinals host the Ashby Arrows. 4:15 pregame, 4:30 first pitch on AM1430 and 98.5 FM, The Fan. Staples-Motley winners of 6 straight. They're 9-6 overall. They're 7-6 in conference play. Like I said, this is a non-conference game. As a matter of fact, it's a non-section game. It's just it's a game that if we would have had, I think, maybe one more rain delay or snow day on the schedule or early in the season, this is the first one that gets kicked off the schedule. Staples-Motley right now 4th in the Heart of Lakes Conference standings with, if you include today, 2, 4, 5 games left in the regular season. If the playoffs started today, Staples-Motley would be 11, the 11 seed out of 16 in 6AA. They would play the 6th seed Piers Pioneers. St. Cloud Cathedral is the top team in Section 6AA. Ashby Arrows are 3-13 on the year, and they are 3-7 in Little 8 play, losers of 3 straight, according to Minnesota scores. Although there is a big giant gap in here where scores, it just says score wasn't reported, so I don't know if those games were played or not. Brandon Evansville, the top team in the Little 8. Ashby is 5th out of 6 with that 3-7 conference record, and they would be in the north subsection of Section 6A, the 7 seed of 8 in that subsection. So if the playoffs were to start today for Ashby, they would take on Long Prairie Gray Eagle. If you include today's contest, one more game on the regular season schedule against West Central area. By the way, BBE, the top seed on the south side of Section 6A. So it's Staples-Motley and Ashby, 4:15 pregame, 4:30 first pitch on AM 1430 and 98.5 FM. The Fan.
Our noted Staples-Motley alum, Zeke, will you be in attendance sweating it out?
No.
Are you sure? The breeze will keep you cool, you know?
No, I'll let Corey handle this one.
There should be a decent shadow on the northeast side of the Jerry Reaver Field sign, but to sit in that shadow, the sign will completely block the field. You won't be able to see anything.
Right. I'll be cool. I'll stay cool.
You will stay a little cooler there.
It just completely negates the reason why I'm there to watch baseball.
No. You'll have a radio with Corey's broadcast.
Oh yeah, I'll listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be at the game, not watching the game.
You'll be like watching and be like, I think he's. You'll be like looking out at the field, looking back at the radio, and be like, I think Corey's ahead a little bit.
I'll be like those awesome guys at Twins games who listen to the game while they're at the game.
Yes,
with the big giant 1980s headphones.
Have you ever had somebody like that? Have you ever had somebody like that sit in front of you at a game that you've done? Because I have, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
When they sit down, they put their bleacher seat up and they lean back, and then as they're putting on their headset, they turn around and look at you and they go, "I'll be listening." And like, no, I hate this.
You're sitting right in front of me. You can hear me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it's going to be a howling today. I will say I forgot sunscreen yesterday to my game, and I cooked in the sun a little bit, but I had already cooked throughout the weekend, so it's like I can't get more burned. That's a lie. I can, but I just I had already figured I was this far in, and I'm just going to go with it. Shout out to Jeremy Nordic, AD of Park Rapids area. It gave me a table to sit at. I was walking into the facility, the parking lot in Park Rapids area schools is like right next to the softball field. And it's like maybe a 20-foot walk from the entrance to where I parked my truck. And I was walking in with the table and the chair. Coach Gaden of Park Rapids area looks at me and goes, hey, we have a table set up for you. And I just looked, I dropped the table, and I just went, great. I had already walked almost all the way there. So it's like I had already, you know what I mean? It's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. I got to basically walk all the way back now, but I didn't care. I used the seats that they gave me. So props to Park Rapids area.
Every time. Jeremy's awesome.
Props to them for that. So, all right, Corey, also give massive props to the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
We talked about it yesterday. We have to talk about it again today. Big things with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. They're giving away 50,000 FunZone tickets. 50,000 FunZone tickets to one lucky FunZone Rewards member. They're calling it the Big Ticket Giveaway. Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Here's how you enter. If you have a FunZone Rewards account with a registered card, you're automatically in. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member yet, just scan the QR code that you're looking at it right now if you're watching the Morning Sports Desk on YouTube, or if you follow the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade on Facebook, which you should, you'll see the post. Scan the QR code and join by the end of the month to get your automatic entry. And by the way, just don't forget to add your FunZone card to that new account so you can officially get entered. One lucky FunZone Rewards member getting 50,000 FunZone tickets. Check it out, Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
All right, let's take a look on the Morning Sports Desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Just take a moment and just enjoy the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves are up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors. The series goes back to Target Center on Wednesday, and the Wolves have a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals for just the third time in franchise history, and would be the first time ever they would do it in back-to-back seasons.
can't.
It's
I can't
awesome.
enjoy it.
Oh, you can't?
I want to enjoy it, but I can't because I'm scarred. I've watched every minute of every Wolves playoff game so far, and this is a really good basketball team. But what I'm seeing on social media, it's like, oh, the Wolves are so good, but don't forget 18 playoff wins in 31 seasons. Don't forget you guys were awful for a long time. Don't forget Steph Curry's coming back. The media wants the Wolves to lose this series so bad. They want Denver versus Golden State so bad. And the way it's lining up, I'm conspiracy theorist guy. Don't even get me started on the Mavericks winning the lottery for Cooper Flag yesterday, because that'll be a 3-hour podcast. But you look at, if the Wolves don't win Game 5 tomorrow, which I think they will, I hope they do. I really hope they do. If they don't, Steph Curry comes back for Game 6 in San Francisco with an extra day. Game 6 wouldn't be until Saturday, I think.
Sunday, Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, it's like a long rest.
Yeah, there's the WNBA. Is it the Golden State Valkyrie? The Sacramento. Yeah,
the Golden Valkyries. State Valkyrie. Their first ever game. Yeah, they didn't want to move.
Their home opener when Game 6 should be. So Steph Curry gets that extra day of rest to come back, kill the Wolves in Game 6. Game 7 comes back to Target Center, but Steph Curry does Steph Curry things, and those are the things that go on in my mind, and they shouldn't, but they stinking do because that's how I'm wired.
It's almost like you wrote a book on it or something.
It's either going to be Wolves in 5 or it's going to end in just devastating heartbreak for this fan base. I'm here for all of it because we always have to be. We don't get to pick and choose our favorite team. If we were born in the state, you'd suffer with the rest of the state. But man, I'm so sick of suffering, guys.
Corey, talk him off the ledge a little bit.
I will happily talk you off the ledge because I had to talk another friend of mine off the ledge last night after the game. Another like Wolves in 5 text goes out, and he responded immediately with a Warriors in 7. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? Like, what a tall task. And his response was, I just can't handle the Wolves being front runners. Like he was like, this is a personal indictment. I just can't personally handle the Wolves being front runners. And my counterpoint to all of this is we have waited our entire lives and hoped for our entire lives that one of the teams that we rooted for was going to be a legit, actual, real life contender for a championship. And this team is one, and it's now just time to embrace it. You can't be afraid of it. Like you wanted it your whole life. Now it's here. You can't be afraid that it's here. You have to just embrace it as a fan because it's so freaking fun. And his counterpoint to that is like, oh no, I'm so pumped. I've just never been more nervous in my entire life, which is, I think, fair. He's like, I'm allowed to feel two things at once. Thank you very much.
As JJ McCarthy said, pressure is a privilege.
But I would like to, yeah, sure. I would like to just, I'm gonna be the guy here for a second. We're stuck in traffic right now, right? There's construction. We're stuck in traffic. It feels like it's a slog. Your heart starts to race because you're like, come on, I've got places to be, and the traffic just isn't moving. But you can see the exit. You can see the exit. There's a sign that says exit 2 miles ahead. And let me tell you what, your path is in sight. There is a real legitimate path in sight for the Minnesota Timberwolves to not just play in the finals, but to win the finals. Like there is an actual legitimate championship view that is on the horizon. It's one of many options that exists in the multiverse of the Minnesota Timberwolves, but the exit to the championship is in sight. There are a lot of times when we talk about this, right? There are like, well, if this and if and if and if and if, and you have to name like 6 things. Well, like 5 of those things have happened. Tatum is hurt and is dead, and Boston is down 3-1. Everyone thinks they're the best team in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell is hurt, who was the second best team in the Eastern Conference all season long. That team is down 3-1. right? New York has no depth. The Timberwolves have shown that they can handle teams that don't have any depth at all. And I have a personal burning rage deep inside my belly for Tom Thibodeau.
Well, and give Tom Thibodeau more playoff games, he'll hurt his players.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's a very good Western Conference team that's still in front of the Timberwolves. Not to mention the series they're in isn't over yet. And the greatest basketball player that has ever existed in Obi Toppin and the Indiana Pacers, who shoots 87% from the field when he plays the Timberwolves.
What a great monkey's paw of when you look at and you go, the Timberwolves make the finals. I don't care what happens. And it curls. And you end up getting your finals matchup, but it's against the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I know. And big balls Tyrese Halliburton.
The NBA would Ant is popular, but the NBA still would be like Indiana versus Minnesota finals. They would
hate it. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to New York Knicks versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Adam Silver shows up to the trophy ceremony in a New York Skyline dress.
Well, we've talked about that before already too, and had that thought of like, are we? I don't know.
More real.
I don't know if my heart can handle a Minnesota New York finals and how that worked out. But I will say the summarized version is there is a real legitimate path that's laid out for the Timberwolves now in a way that has quite literally never existed. This is so awesome.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, right? It's just honestly, even in the first round before that series started, somebody tweeted out there like, look, man, I don't care what happens in the series. The Minnesota Timberwolves consistently are playing playoff basketball year in and year out, and I will never take that for granted. My entire life, I remember Kevin Garnett as a kid. I remember hearing about it, but I didn't watch every Wolves game when I was in first grade and was seeing Kevin Garnett play for the Wolves. My entire ride or die fandom with the Wolves has been giving away tickets to the Target Center if you bought 2 cans of butter kernel corn at Cub. That was my Timberwolves fan. I was born in the darkness, molded by it. The darkness of Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio and Wes Johnson. And remember when the Wolves lost in the draft lottery because they gave it to Cleveland because they lost LeBron and the Wolves could have had Kyrie because they were a worse team than Cleveland that year? Anyway.
Not the first time they've done that, by the way.
Uh-huh. And yeah, they got back-to-back number one.
Too good of a storyline.
And then that pick ended up going back to be traded for Kevin Love and all of that.
Because LeBron needed help in Cleveland, so why not give have some draft capital to get Kevin Love? It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It turned into Andrew Wiggins, which turned into D'Angelo Russell, which turned into Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So it's all very. But my biggest takeaway with all of this is just that the Timberwolves are good. They have a legit chance to be a championship team. And I don't care what happens if they lose. If they get bounced, they'll be very disappointed in this series. But if they get to the conference finals and they play OKC or Denver and they can't hack it, I'm going to be disappointed. But I'm also going to go, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've always been bad. I'm just going to be on this ride no matter what happens. And here's the other thing. They're also good, legitimately good. This has been 2 games now where the Warriors in the first half have given the Wolves everything they could handle. And the best they could do is be up by 2 points. And we've called enough high school basketball games. How many times do you watch it? I've been in plenty of basketball games. I've seen games in my life where one team is clearly better than the other, but the score and some fans for the team that's kind of hanging in there, they go, oh, look at us. We could do it. And you're like, look, man, they're you guys are having to do everything you can just to hang with them. And they're not even playing their best ball. And then the second half happens. And all of a sudden, oh, how do we lose by 30? That's exactly what 17-0 run for the Timberwolves in the third quarter is what put this game away. Anthony Edwards playing really well, Julius Randle playing really well. And overall, this is 2 games in a row now where the Warriors have felt I've listened to these ESPN broadcasts. They want nothing more than the Warriors to make it a series. And I get it, ratings, you want it to be a series. So I'm not trying to be Wolves against the world, but it's I remember in game 3, the Warriors had a good stretch on offense. You go, this is the offense the Warriors need. And I look, I'm like, they're on pace to score 98 points. What are you talking about? They're having good stretches of offense and they still can barely crack 100. And that's it doesn't matter. The Wolves are the better team. Even if Steph was there, the Wolves are still the better team on paper. They're deeper, they're whatever. And they're going to win this series. I don't care how many games it takes, but win it in 5 so that way you don't have to wait till Sunday. Because as the Wolves learned, Brian Windhorst made this point on SportsCenter last night. Remember, the Wolves got that great comeback down. They were up 2-0, went down 3-2, came back to win the series in Denver. But also by the time they played Dallas, they were gassed because that series was a dogfight. So get done with the series. Let OKC and Denver get into a dogfight, rest up, and be ready to go. One of the reasons Golden State's not playing that well, and Steph got hurt, by the way, they had to play three extra games or 2 extra games to go to a Game 7. Wrap up the series, be done with it, and rest up for the conference finals.
My favorite part of the ESPN broadcast, I think it was Game 3, when they were trying to paint Draymond Green as the hero, not the villain. That's all you need to say about.
He's got to be the better leader, you know. He's stepping up as a leader. I'm like, what part of that guy?
Yeah, it was. I think it was the game where he fouled out with like 5 minutes left in the fourth.
2 points and 6 fouls. Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah,
he punched his teammate. He's a natural born leader.
Yeah.
What was interesting about that game though was that it was like it felt like there was better effort from Golden State most of the night. Right? Like the Timberwolves have been weird, but this is how much better the Wolves are than the Warriors. All they had to do was play 5.5 good minutes of basketball, and the game was absolutely over. Even the first half, where the Timberwolves gave up 60 points in the first half, the effort felt constantly like desperation on behalf of Golden State.
They're going haymakers.
They're just doing everything they can, and the Wolves are just like, yeah, he had to hit a 35-footer, but like the Wolves are down 2 at the half, and Golden State did everything.
They pulled up a buzzer beater at the half to keep it within 2, and it's
just
like
deflating.
I do want to just one more other point, and Zeke, you brought this up because CJ was talking about growing up being a first grader and like the Timberwolves being relevant for really the first time ever, but this has mostly been a really bad franchise historically speaking, and we're all quite aware of that. But it's not weirdly that is not the experience of the Timberwolves being bad is not a universal experience anymore, right? Zeke, you had an opportunity to watch it with someone in your house, and they're like, "Man, we can just switch it because the Timberwolves are a good basketball team."
Yeah, I was watching the game with Judah last night. He's my son. He's 9. He wanted to watch Oilers versus Golden Knights instead of the Wolves last night. And I was like, why? He's like, well, the Wolves are up 20 points. We have nothing to worry about. He's 9. The Wolves have not been bad his entire life. He has not known the Ramon Sessions, Andrei Kirilenko era of Timberwolves basketball. He's known.
He doesn't need to know who Luke Ridnour is.
He's known, and he doesn't know Chase Buttinger. He doesn't know any of these guys. He hasn't had to deal with that. He's just like, 20 points. Yeah, the Wolves are good. Let's go watch Aiden Hill throw haymakers at Connor McDavid for a while. Okay, and we did. Well, he did. I stayed and watched, buzzer to buzzer, but he went and watched hockey. He's just like, I'm not worried about it. And I was like, oh, you naive boy, faith of a child. My goodness, I want that so bad.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have faith of watching a bad team like I had watching the 1993 Minnesota Twins. Like maybe this is the day that Kirby Puckett hits 5 home runs and the Twins can find a way to win. It's not faith of a child. They've been good his whole life. He's just following the evidence. He's a scientist.
Yeah.
They've been good. The worst he ever saw in his life was the chaos of Jimmy Butler and Tibbs, and they made the playoffs that year.
Yeah, and he was 2 when that happened, so he doesn't even know.
Right,
the worst he's ever seen.
He never had to experience the practice. Like
amazing. It's amazing that universe exists in the same place where we live, where the Timberwolves have been a doormat.
All right. By the way,
why is everyone booing that number 10 guy? I'm like, let me tell you some stories about that number 10 guy.
And then you should tell him, hey, by the way, that number 10 guy yesterday was minus 30.
Yeah, he was.
Playoff Jimmy, quote unquote, when he has to actually play in the West and not the crappy Eastern Conference, turns out is a playoff dropper. Who knew? By the way, Jimmy Butler may have been a minus 30, but I do have to tell you that I lost the stat. It was during the ESPN broadcast, and they were talking about the Wolves. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here we go. The Golden State Warriors, this was during the broadcast yesterday, were 6-22 this series, 27% shooting on field goal attempts contested by Jaden McDaniels. Jimmy Butler, when he drives, they're like, Butler's got to score more. What does Butler want to do? He's not a shooter. He can shoot, but he's not a shooter. He wants to drive to the cup. You know who's at the cup? Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert. Big Roo. And they are all and Julius Randle. They're all there. Like, he doesn't want any part of that.
I think I saw a stat, something like when his shooting percentage, when he's guarded by either Gobert, McDaniels, or Ant, is like 17% from the floor or something awful.
I was told we needed him. We couldn't win without him.
Couldn't win without him.
It's interesting that these are the first games he's played against the Timberwolves since leaving the Timberwolves, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. He's played. Oh, by the way, Draymond Green said he's been dealing with some illness.
Sure.
So now he's gone from general soreness to general illness.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Julius was dealing with a sinus infection. He had a triple-double on your dumbass.
There's the quote of Draymond Green. Remember, he's like, "This isn't the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is the Golden State Warriors." That dude. You just hate to see that dude getting punked on. He had to start his press conference apologizing about some things he said, and it's just.
Yeah. Did he apologize for putting DiVincenzo on that headlock last night? And
the ref's just standing there watching. I watched that in real time. I'm like, what am I missing?
Nothing. Nothing. Almost ripped his head off last night. Which maybe that'd be good because Devo's not been great this series.
It's a good thing those two used to be teammates because otherwise they might have started fighting. Yeah. But yeah, DiVincenzo hit like 1-3. That was pretty big. He's had some nice defensive plays, but yeah, he don't worry, he's saving all of his shots for the conference finals.
He had been significantly better than Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I thought Nob played pretty nice.
He did have a nice game. He's like games 3 and 4, he's played really well. The Wolves have won 10 straight, or they've won 10 road games over the last 2 postseasons. That's the most in the NBA. They are ready to show up and win in hostile environments more often than not. They get caught. I don't know. They just feel like a team that's prepared. And I know we could talk about this for 11 hours at this point, but just want to say that now I believe with yesterday's win that Chris Finch passed Flip Saunders for most playoff wins in Timberwolves history. It goes like Chris Finch 19, Flip Saunders 18, Tom Thibodeau 1. That's it. That's the entire list.
All right. So the question is now, I think Chris Finch is the greatest Timberwolves coach ever, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing we believe.
It's a low bar to set. It's not like he's...
No, I mean, that's fine. We don't need to...
He cleared the bar. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like we're trying to say he's like Hall of Fame, walk right in there. It's to say like, yeah, based on the standards, he's the best coach.
So the question is, what does Ant need to do to surpass KG?
Make a finals, probably.
Win a title.
Because KG, remember, I mean, he's got a Western Conference Finals under his belt and was a league MVP. It happened maybe the same year, probably.
Yeah, it did. It was 04.
So does 2 Western Conference Finals, does a Western Conference Finals equal an MVP?
Maybe, because if you remember, like in the era Kevin Garnett played, like there was not like, obviously it's the hard, like in the era of like LeBron, like, you know, it was in that weird spot of the league. It was pre-LeBron, post-Michael. You know what I mean?
That's the wrong take because it's Tim Duncan and it's Kobe and it's Shaq and that was a legit MVP.
But what I'm saying, there was never like that guy's just going to win it every single year in the same way of like you just have so much more you have to overcome in that sense.
If
you have Jokic and you have some of these other guys where it's...
How about making the finals? If he makes the finals this year, is he the greatest Timberwolf ever?
Here's the thing. I think these are 2 things that can be mutually exclusive. I think Kevin Garnett right now is the greatest Timberwolf because he has the tenure. But Anthony Edwards, as long as he just does what he needs to do and doesn't get horrifically injured, is going to like he is on track to be the franchise leader. Yeah, like, all he has to do is just play a few more years.
That's my question. What is the thing that crosses the threshold?
If he wins the finals this year, it's over. If he like goes to the Western Conferences and loses, like then okay, he's still kind of on that same level, maybe like one more run at it. But that's the thing. Kevin Garnett only went to and it's not his fault, but like his teams only went to the Western Conference Finals once, and that was the only playoff series they ever won.
All right. So I need yes or no's then from both of you. If Ant wins a championship this year, is he the greatest Timberwolf ever?
Yeah, easily.
Yes.
If he
continue, I'll follow up next.
If he loses the championship this year, is he the greatest Timberwolf ever? If he makes the finals and loses, let's say it's a 7-game series and they lose.
I still might.
Timberwolf ever?
You might have to give it to him at that point. If he like brought the team on the brink of a championship.
How about if they get swept in the finals?
Probably got to wait. Just because the thing about legacy is it's always subjective, right? And it's always kind of a vibe check anyways. So I feel like that's it. I feel like and the thing that Kevin Garnett has working for him too is the nostalgia factor and the fact that he was the only era of Timberwolves basketball that's good. So it's
but nostalgia doesn't mean anything when there's actual things to back it up.
No. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Kevin Garnett. I'm just saying it's going to help him probably last a little bit longer.
Fair. All right. Zeke, good thing.
I think the big number I saw, I think it was on the broadcast last night. It was career 30-point playoff games. Anthony Edwards has 14 of them. The rest of the franchise has 30 combined.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, granted, there was a lot of there was a lot of opportunities for people to get those 30-point games in the late 90s, early 2000s when this team went to the playoffs 7-8 consecutive times. But I think it shows that you can make the playoffs and have success in the playoffs with a guy like Anthony Edwards on your team. And I think it puts him only 5 years in, it puts him in a serious conversation for the best ever. I mean, Chris Finch is the best ever. He's been here, 4, 5, 6 seasons?
5 years, yeah.
5 years. It's been here 5 years.
Every full season he's been here, they've made the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think Anthony Edwards has been a huge part of that. And I think it's the conversation is closer than it should be for a guy who's 23 years old. And that's embarrassing for this franchise.
It is. But, and here's the other thing too. Like, I mean, I just, now that there's one last thing I want to touch on. It's kind of going a little off topic. And then we got to talk about the Twins and Vikings. Then we got to get out of here. But, is the fact of Julius Randle has been such a good compliment to Anthony Edwards this postseason. Because he plays bully ball down low. And you get that aspect. He started off 4 for 4 on his 3-point attempts yesterday, or 3 for 3 or whatever it was. And I think he's the first Timberwolf ever to have I can't remember what the rate was. It was something with points, rebounds, assists. He just is at a super high clip. He's just been really good. I think it's him and Ant are the first Timberwolves was it score 30 points each in a playoff game since only 2 other times that's been done before, and it was Cassell and KG and who was the other one?
T-Hood.
Yeah. So that was that was it. Those guys are doing stuff that's been really well, and I don't know if anybody in Julius Randle has gone from hated by the franchise to adored by the franchise this quickly than Julius Randle.
Yeah, I love him.
It's insane. And by the way, we talked about him, remember in the middle of the year, it's I don't know, the Wolves, people were demanding the Wolves trade him at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And we were smart on the show and we said, no, you got to give it more time before you rule out the Julius Randle experiment. Now we thought you got to give him more time. He's going to opt into his contract and you'll figure it out next year if you want to keep him long-term. There's a good chance Tim Connelly's working on an extension right now with Julius Randle. We
were patient, but we also qualified it always by saying there's no way he's a Timberwolf next year.
Well, we knew he was going to be, but it was reluctantly because he was going to opt in on his contract.
Opt in, but then be traded.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
He was not a forever Timberwolf, and
he might be. Might be. By the way, just try. And here's the one last thing. I am so glad that Tim Connelly decided, you know what, Utah Jazz, have an extra first-round pick or 2. I'm not trading you Jaden McDaniels. Because that very well, we could have gotten less draft capital given up, but you would have had to give up Jaden McDaniels. And my goodness, is Jaden McDaniels important to what they do? He's probably their best player in transition. Watch him move. That
Euro step he pulls out every once in a while is just...
He's really nice. Tim Connelly knows what he's doing, and that's the biggest thing. No matter if the Wolves win, lose, whatever, they just are in a good spot. They have Glenn Taylor's out of there. They have ownership in place. They have a front office in place that's proven in a very small sample size to nail a lot of the moves they do. And you have a franchise superstar already under contract. So the Timberwolves are just in a really good spot, and I'm just never going to take that for granted. So All right.
One more really quick thing. I worked so hard on this while you guys have been talking. I went back because how many road wins do the Wolves have? 10 straight or something like that?
10 straight in the playoffs, yeah.
10 straight playoff.
10 road playoff wins in this season and last postseason.
Okay. So we have 10 the last 2 seasons. I did the math. In the previous 13 seasons, how many road wins did the Timberwolves have?
In the playoffs, I'm going to go 3.
I mean, they were only in the playoffs in the previous 10 seasons 2 times
since the beginning of time.
Oh.
So from 96 through the 2003 Nuggets first round exit, how many road playoff wins did this team have? 13 series.
I'm going to say
how many road playoff wins?
Did you say 3, CJ?
3.
I'll say 4 then.
It is 4. They are 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 4 and 27 on the road before these last 2 seasons.
Nice. All right, cool. Hey, Twins are going to try and go for their 9th straight win. They play the Baltimore Orioles this week. Orioles are last in the AL East. The Twins send some combination through this series of Simeon, Woods, Richardson, Chris Paddock, and Bailey Ober in this series. Go get them, boys.
Yeah, that projected line, the projected pitchers don't scare me as much as they did a month ago. There's hope there that we can.
Twins starting rotation is top 7 in baseball. Their bullpen is top 8. Their pitching staff overall is top 8. We talked about this on yesterday's show a little bit. But it turns out when you're not asking them to, when you're not asking the starters to essentially give up 2 runs or less every start, and you're not asking the bullpen to be perfect every single time because you're in a 1-run game, turns out they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, Paddock picked up his first win of the season his last time out, didn't he? Cleveland or something like that?
It was either Cleveland or it was San Francisco.
Maybe it was San Francisco, yeah. So that was good for him. Ober has been great since that opening series against.
Let him get St.
Louis
hung around in Missouri, and then he'll pitch really well after that. So, what do we think, boys? Thumbs up, thumbs down. 9 wins in a row?
Sure. I care more about getting 2 out of 3 than a win streak.
That's also true. But you can't win 2 out of 3 if you don't keep the win streak going, most likely.
Make it 10 in a row, then drop that finale for some reason.
And then go sweep Milwaukee or something. Milwaukee's also not playing great baseball right now. And then you have a series against Cleveland and Kansas City at home. You go into Orlando or wherever the heck Tampa Bay plays at Steinbrenner Field down there. And then you play the Mariners. So there's the month of May for you. All right, last thing, then we got to get out of here. The Minnesota Vikings are announced by Adam Schefter, and I think the team announced it today as well. The Vikings on the final weekend of September, are going to be in, was it London first and then Dublin, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, Dublin against Pittsburgh.
And then play Cleveland the next week in London. Yeah. Now, look, these are both technically road games, so the Vikings don't lose a home game. They don't have to go to Heinz Field. I know it's called something else. It doesn't matter. They don't have to go to Pittsburgh, and they're playing Cleveland, so that's like a free win anyways. So I don't like playing in the international games because it's such a strain on a team in the middle of a season. But the fact that it's happening early and the fact that it's going to be 2 weeks in a row, so they're already there. So in a way, you build some kind of continuity. And also, they're probably going to get a bye week right after that anyways. Fine. I don't like it, but it's fine.
Write this down. J.J. McCarthy will be the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to win back-to-back games overseas this season.
All right.
He can add that to his resume. National champion, back-to-back winners overseas.
Yeah.
Top 2 things on his Hall of Fame resume.
I don't think anybody's played back-to-back overseas before, have they? Or have the Jaguars done that?
This is the first. The Vikings are the first team to do back-to-back. Yeah.
Of course they are.
That's better than that. That's way better than what they made Jacksonville do, which is go back twice. They had to go overseas twice, non-consecutively. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I love that they're not home games. It's a sucky way to lose a home game to have it be a home game, and
especially when you have US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I just think that's super lame. It is. There's going to be a lot of Vikings fans at those games. Like, what if you are a monster Vikings fan? and now you get to like go spend 10 days in Europe and watch the Vikings play twice. Are you kidding me? That's going to be an unbelievable. There's going to be like a traveling contingent of Vikings fans who are backpacking across the Alps to get from one stadium to the other. That's cool. That's super cool. So that part of it, I guess if you're going to play 2 games overseas, play them consecutively and get them out of the way. I have no issue with any of it, especially considering, like we said, they didn't lose a home game out of any of this. That's the best case scenario for overseas games.
And 1, you get to avoid Pittsburgh, and 2, you're playing Cleveland, so whatever. Like like that's a win anyways. And then you just don't have to go to Pittsburgh, where I don't think they've won a game since like ever. Maybe I don't know when's the last time they've won in Pittsburgh, but it certainly wasn't the last time in 2017. That was the Case Keenum game that he first came in at, and everybody's like, this is going to be bad, and it wasn't. And then I believe the time before was 2009, when the Vikings were 6-0 and lost in Pittsburgh, and Adrian Peterson absolutely trucked Rudy Gay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was, that's always the memory that sticks in my head, when he trucked that guy and then he ran to the sideline, and then you could hear the camera pick him up. He just went, ah! Like just screamed. That highlight just lives on forever. Yeah. So, all right. Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.